I remember the first time I heard somebody talk about the depth of somebody else's practice, and it was interesting because it was Daido Luri Roshi talking about Bernie Tetsugen Roshi. And he said he is very clear. He always was. And what he meant by that is that his experience of enlightenment had been clarified, and he had a clear understanding about that. And that is, to some degree, the important part, the part that's left out, the secret part, which is having seen the bull, the white bull, the question becomes not whether you've seen it, but how clear are you that you are that white bull? And I want to talk about that a little bit differently than I usually do, which is what's between you and your own clarity is all your own ideas. What clarity feels like to a person as they get increasingly clear is exactly what the word says. It's a very good word. It feels like clarity, like nothing there, empty. Like if you think about yourself looking at the floor or a tree without anything in between, so that it feels like it's just one thing, and there's not a lot of thought arising quickly, or a lot of philosophy, or a lot of understanding, or a lot of knowing. That's clarity. So when Daido said that Bernie was clear, he didn't mean he knew a lot about the Dharma. He didn't mean that he'd had many experiences. He meant that his mind had settled down, kind of like the analogy we use is like sediment in water, that the water stood still long enough where everything kind of drifted to the bottom, and the water was clear and you could see through it. So where does that go? Okay, so as I've said to you, for that, it is indispensable that you do sitting. Sitting is the process of letting the water sediment settle down over a period of years. Okay, so let's say now the water is settled down a little, and you see the ox. What then, you know? You've seen this big ox, and this big, beautiful ox, but you're still you, all right? Maybe I can find the right passage here where a person goes on this journey to find the ox, and I don't know, which one is that? Well, stage 4, catching the ox. Through extraordinary effort, you seize the ox. Still, its will is forceful, and its body spirited. Sometimes it runs high into the mountains, other times it disappears into the mist. The important sentence here is, through extraordinary effort, you seize the ox. I was talking to someone the other day, a friend of mine, who I was a student with many years ago, and I asked him, what do you remember in your experiences about Zen practice that, you know, sticks out for you? And he said, when I passed the koan mu, how hard I had to work. And it used to be harder. We used to make more of passing that koan. And you used to basically have to sit up in the zendo all night to be able to get through it. And he sat up all night and he said, I made more effort than I ever made in anything in my whole life. Now, having made that effort, he had some kind of breakthrough experience and saw that he was the ox, the whole thing. After that, he works as a tech. He's a software engineer. He still had to go to work the next day and write programs and deal with his wife, who hates him, and their child, who she won't let him see, and her partner, who's a woman, who hates him, and all those things that go on. So it's kind of funny too, because her partner, who I'm good friends with, is a very kind of athletic woman who's very strong and big, and he's very skinny and very small. So she's always kind of saying she's going to beat him up if he does this or that, and it's kind of a comedy. Anyway, so what do you do about that? Emigrate. Yeah. So, well, I'll tell him. All these things are still going on. You still have your life to live. You've seen this ox, and you might say, especially if you're a sane person, so what? So what? Now, if you're a long-time good practitioner, you're going to have an answer to that, other than so what, which is that when I'm practicing and I sit and my concentration is good, I am able to see myself as the ox, and I am able to let go of the self and my individuality and see a deeper picture. And that's good. What is let go of when somebody who's been practicing for a while? It's the self. It's all the thoughts about who you are, what you think, how old you are, what gender you are, your kids, your job, everything like that is gone for a while. And you have clarity. That's clarity. When you clear, what are you? You are the mind. Now, that can kind of be misleading because we think we know what the mind is. It's using the word a different way. Think about your mind without any content.